Okay, the first thing we want to do is go to your email and you want to click the 9 squares and we want to go to your Google Drive. And in your Google Drive, you want to click New and then More, and we want to click on Google Forms. Now, the reason I'm showing you how to create a Google form, there's a couple different ways we can create a Google form, and this is just one way. So what we'll want to do is go ahead and give your form a title, and I'm just going to call this Science Review, and we'll call it, if we were creating it for tomorrow, 3/20/2020. And what I want to do, I'll just highlight it and go ahead and click to give it a title. And you can go ahead and you want to click on choose an image just to make it nice and fancy. And if you want to make it festive so the kids can enjoy it with maybe some different things for spring, or this week I used some of the stuff for St. Patrick's Day. They enjoy that. You can. And so you'll want to insert maybe just something nice to make it look nice behind it, to give it a nice little background. And then the other things that you'll want to do, you can change, of course, the font if you want. What you want to go ahead and look at up here, most importantly though, in the settings, the first thing you'll want to look to do is we're restricted to the Lake Wales Charter School users, and you can collect their email addresses. That way you know who they come from, and you'll want to limit to one response. That way they can't continually answer the questions over and over and over. I don't generally change anything in presentation. I do like it to let them know their response has been recorded, so I don't ever really change that. Most important thing is you want to change this to make it a quiz. So you definitely want to make it a quiz. Now, depending on if it's only multiple choice or only mark all that apply or drop down, then you would choose to grade immediately after submission. If you have an extended response or short response, you'll want to click later after manual review to release the grade, and then that way you'll email it back. Go ahead and make sure you click save, and then you're ready to begin creating your form. Down here where it says untitled question, a lot of times I just go ahead and start off with name, and it'll see kind of what you've already asked, and it'll give a short answer text. I always make my questions required, that way a student doesn't accidentally forget. It won't let them submit unless they have answered all the questions. In this case, we're going to leave it at 0 points because it's just their name. Then come up and click the plus button to add a question. And then we'll go ahead, just now because we're starting basic, I'll go ahead and put number 1. And I might say, what is the third planet from the sun? And again, I'm just given an example of what this could be. We'll leave this one as multiple choice. You could insert a photo if you wanted to. It's already given me a suggested answer, which is great. So I want to go ahead and give some options. So maybe I'll say Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Earth. And then the way that you would go ahead and make it required, and then you'll want to click answer key to give it a point value. And again, if you're making it a 10-point quiz, you'll want to go ahead and make it 10 points. Always check right up here in the top to see how it's gauging your points, because I'm just going to do a short quiz with you. I'm just going to make it worth 25 points because I'm only going to do 4 questions. When you're ready to make the next question, go ahead and click plus, and this time we could do which of the following is not an inner planet. And we could do a mark all that apply. And automatically you can see that when it saw my mark all that apply, it changed it to check boxes. And so we could go ahead and do Venus, Uranus, Mercury, Earth, and Neptune. And now we'll make it required. And because it's which of the following is not an inner planet, we'll click the answer key, and they would need to choose both Uranus and Neptune, and then that way you can practice different types of questions. There you have another type of question. For the next question, you want to go ahead and put the plus sign. Another type of question, you could say, how many planets are in our solar system? And this time we could do a drop down, and you could just give them the option. You could just do something like 7, 9, or I'll go in order, 7, 8, 9, and make it required. And then again, you can do your answer key, mark the correct answer, select the amount of points, and again, I'm always checking up here for the total point value. And then I want to add one more question. So we've done a drop down, we've done a mark all that apply, we've done a multiple choice. And then the last, we just want to do one more question. I'll just do an easy one. And then again, make it required. Go ahead and put in your answer key. Set up your points. And then I would just double check and make sure that it equals 100. Now that I know that I did the solar system, I probably would have changed my theme to something more fun, like a something more related to the solar system. I may have done something more earthy just to make it cute and fun so that they would be more interested. The part that I really like here is you can add collaborators, and when you add a collaborator, you can include another teacher, and that teacher can actually use this exact form. And so what I like to do is invite people, so I could go ahead and invite, so I'm sharing with Jade, and that way we could work together. And all Jade's gonna do is open this up so I could send it to her, and then all she would do when she gets hers is up here where those 3 dots are, she would just make a copy, call it her own, and then she's able to access the same exact form. Just she would get the responses from her students. And I can show you another example of that from the actual Google Classroom and how that would work. Or I can show you right here from an old Google form that my students used this week. So here would be the questions from St. Patrick's Day. and here are their responses. And what you want to do is click right here, responses in an Excel spreadsheet, and you can order them based on here, either timestamp, there's their answers, and who the students are and their scores. And now the way that you would insert that into the Google Classroom is in classwork, you would go ahead and click create, and you would click quiz assignment. They put a blank quiz, so you can always create Google Forms inside of Google Classroom. But what I would do is just use the one I've created and what I've been doing and add it straight from my Google Classroom. And so I could look right from my recent, and there it is right there. We would just insert it, and then I would delete this blank quiz. But then that way, when I add it for my students and put in a due date, I would just go ahead and put in science review, put the date, and then give them the instructions to complete. Once I assign it for those students and give them again that due date and a set time, which I usually leave at 11:59, I would assign to all students. And once I assign it, it tells me exactly who's completed it, and it actually grades, and it's perfect. So I hope this is helpful as far as how to create a Google form, how to see the grades from the Google form, and just let me know. Oh, I will go ahead and show you from my classes where they've done a Google form so you can see what it looks like when they've actually turned one in, and how nice it is to see the way that Google Forms looks. So here's the form from Tuesday, and as you can see, there's none left. Everybody's turned theirs in. So right now what I would look at is I have Leah's score, which she made a 60. I would go here and click import grades, import them straight in from the quiz. And then you can see Frank's score as well. I will turn them in and then return those scores to the students. And then what's great now is that every single student in my class has been graded, and it's also in alphabetical order, so I can go directly to that class, insert those grades into Focus, and then wham bam, thank you ma'am, it's done. So just as easy as that. All right, I hope this was helpful.